Yo, what is up, people? Welcome to Adelaide vlogs. And today, Nathan will be discussing about how to make a resume in detail. So, the Australian format of making the resume, and vlog will be very interesting. Please hit a like. And मैं शिफ्ट हो गया हूँ अपने घर से, बट ये दूसरा घर है, एंड इस पर अलग व्लॉग बनेगा बाद में. But stay tuned to the channel, and thank you so much for the 1,000 subscriber people. Thank you. So just stay tuned.
Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to Adelaide Vlogs. So, today I'm going to talk about a lot of people have been asking me in some comments in the last video what kind of Australian format resume, what kind of resume does the Australia demands. So, this video would be totally on what kind of resume you should build before coming to Australia while from India. People have been asking me from India, so I know it's a couple of things that you have to keep in mind, but it's getting a job here is not easy, but you have to adhere with some of the rules and regulations that are required in Australia. So today this presentation is going to be all about how to build an Australian resume format and the cover letter format. All right, so I'm going to start with mindset. So mindset is the key, guys. Yes, you heard it right. Mindset is the key. So apply for 5 jobs. You have to get your, first of all, you have to get your mindset right. So you have to be very positive, and every job you apply, you have to apply with the whole bunch of positivity. You have to just embed that positivity inside the job you have been applying for. All right. So just make sure any job you apply, don't think that I won't be getting it. All right. So just think, yes, this is a job for me, and I'm gonna be getting a call from these employers, and yes, I would be getting it. Just stay positive, guys. And failure, even if you fail, what will happen? If you send a resume to an employer, and if you fail, what will happen? uh, the maximum that can happen is you will get rejected, right? But you will get so much confidence, and you will get to know what kind of things our Australian employers are looking for. So failure is an opportunity to grow your mindset. So as you can see in my screen, I can learn to do anything I want. Challenges help me to grow. All right. So, and feedback is very constructive, and always say to have your affirmations in your mind and have a board of your affirmations in your room. Just read those affirmations every single day, and the magic's going to happen. And this is the same thing that is being told by my mentors every day. Have affirmation, guys, and you will definitely come to know what kind of magic does the affirmations. Saying those 5 lines in the morning, even if you're having a shower, it's not very difficult, right? So have affirmations, guys. If you speak those 5 sentences or six, make a set of 5 6 sentences, and stick them on your, maybe your fridge, and read those affirmations while going, like, as soon as you wake up, as soon as you have your first glass of water. So the magic would happen, right, guys? Believe me, I've tried and tested it. The magic's gonna happen. So, talking about talking about Australian job market at the moment. So, Australian job market is quite you can say there's a slump at the moment, but people are still getting jobs. So don't be afraid. I know people coming from India would be afraid. How would we get job in terms of in this times of COVID? But don't worry, guys. Australia is opening up visas soon, and it's just it's just trial, guys. You have to be positive, and definitely, if you are on the right track, if you are doing the right thing, definitely the employer is going to hire you. All right. So it's not like, yeah, I won't be getting hired, because you're just going negative on the very first instance. All right. So there's no point. And then I would be apply. Then I would be so few tips and techniques I would be giving in this video presentation. As you can see on my screen, apply for 5 jobs daily. All right. And don't hurry, guys. So even if you see a single job, just don't forward a single resume and a cover letter to everyone, to every job you see. That's not the case, guys. So you have to be you need patience. You need to have a patience, and you need to take at least 30 to 60 minutes to apply for one single job. So frame a different cover letter every single time and frame a different resume every single time. Look up at the job responsibilities. What roles are they asking for? What kind of responsibilities do they mentioned in the job? In the job, yeah, sorry. So the sites you can scroll and apply for on, well, number one would be Seek. So you can apply on apply. You can, there are a couple of many professional jobs on Seek, and even the other retail jobs, all the other jobs. Seek is the main platform. Indeed, Indeed covers everything. Indeed covers professional jobs, government jobs, even restaurant jobs, hospitality, everything. Indeed, the third thing you can scroll is LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is for people who are applying for some more serious professional roles. All right. So it's just that. So I'm talking. So next slide is Australian CV tips and rules. So I would talk about, first of all, I would talk about Australian CV requirements. So as with most countries, Australia has its own specific set of rules and work culture and set of expectations for the curriculum or for the resume. So when applying for a job in Australia, it is very important to ensure that your CV adheres to the Australian CV requirements and is tailored to impress the Australian recruiters and employers. All right. So I would be discussing some of the Australian CV tips and rules with you guys, so you would be getting a clear picture of what Australian employers are looking for. All right, so it's going to be easier for the people who's going to be coming from India to come and apply for their first job here in Australia. Believe me, guys, if you follow these tips and if you go through the end of this video, definitely it's going to help you a lot. So please be with me and please be patient. So Australian CV length. So for the very experienced professionals who has got more than like 5 to 10 years of experience, so they would have 3 to 4 pages of resume. All right. Let's say, for example, if it's a new graduate or if someone is new to the workforce, 2 pages are sufficient enough. I would not recommend at all to mention all your projects you've worked on in your work tenure. I would not encourage you to do that because that can increase the resume length to up to 5 pages. What if you want? If you want to include your projects, if you want to include your projects and the live projects you've worked on in the tenure of your work period, I would suggest you to make an appendix and attach with the job application. There's also an option when you apply for a job. You can also attach additional documents. So in those additional documents, you can attach an appendix in the Word format, not in PDF format. Always, guys, apply your resume or apply as soon as you see any job, apply and upload your resume in Microsoft Word format, not in PDF, please. So as soon as the work history is robust enough, and your resume should expand accordingly. And the term resume and CV are very synonymously. An Australian CV language, make sure you use Australian CV language with correct Australian English. Don't forget to put those extra U's such as color, labor, and just as opposed to the American slangs and American spellings such as COLOR. Don't use that. Use full Australian CV English. Use full correct Australian spellings. All right, so I'm going to move to the next slide now. Australian CV format, order, and layout. All right. So in this, I'm going to talk about Australian CV photo. As a rule of thumb, believe me, guys, as a rule of thumb, it is not best to include your photograph in your resume. All right. So if you intend to host your resume online, all right, and if you are in a creative industry or something like a kind of a modeling industry, however it is, an image may be an asset then. But be sure, do your research, guys. Do your research. However, if the company you're applying for isn't expecting a photo, it can hurt your chances. All right. So, and Australian HR and recruiter consultant, there's an Australian HR named Carolyn Brown. She said when you put your when you put your photo on your resume, you're inviting a recruiter with their own set of prejudices to consider that you are how you look along with the accomplishments. So it doesn't give a very nice impression on the Australian employers. So talking about other Australian CV personal information, you should just include your name, address, mobile phone number, email address. And please keep the email simple and professional. For example, first name, last name at the rate gmail.com, whatever. And not like cool boy, hot boy, playboy, chick magnet. It doesn't make any sense. So please keep your email short, simple, and very professional. First name, last name, that's it. If that username is not available, you can just include a letter, you can just include a digit in the end, but don't keep any fancy names. All right. And there's no need to include any information such as age, marital status, children. It's not necessary for applying an Australian for applying into the Australian market. They are not going to ask you how many kids you have or are you married. It's just they're going to look for your skills, they're going to look for your confidence, they're going to look for your educational background. So next thing I'm going to talk about Australian CV objective. So it is recommended that it's not mandatory, but it is recommended to include a career objective on top of the resume. So the career objective can be simple, can be easy. It's gonna be like 4 to 5 lines. That's it. So it should just give a reason for the hiring manager or the HR to continue reading your resume. It's just to build the interest. We like you can just include 4 lines, and if and it should be very very interesting. It should be very very catchy. So the objective is to give a clear description and a clear description of the experience you're bringing to the organization, or what kind of goals and ambitions you have when you apply for the role, when you apply for that specific role. All right, so I'm going to move ahead now. Now I'm going to discuss about Australian CV work experience. So how would you write your work experience? You should display your work experience in the reverse chronological order. All right. So with your most recent position on the top, each description should include the beginning and the date of the tenure, how much period of time you have worked in your previous organization, and it should include your start date and it should include your end date. All right. It's not just you have to leaving the name, just giving the name of the employer. That doesn't makes a very good impression on the employers. They have to know, and they have to know what kind of gaps you have within your employment, and you need to be sure to provide sufficient evidence and accountability for your gaps within your employment. For example, if I lost my job and I'm unemployed for like last 6 months, so there's a high possibility that if the employer there's a high possibility that the employer can ask you, what were you doing in the last 6 months? All right, so you have to be very accountable. You have to be make sure, and you have to provide an evidence what you were doing in the last 6 months, rather than just providing any false information. Don't provide any false information, guys. So it's gonna be when you sit on the table for an interview, they're gonna know. Whether you were lying in the resume, or whether everything is right, whether everything is wrong. They're gonna know. Use quantifiable information whenever possible. Use powerful verbs such as delivered, trained, prompted. These are very heavy words in the Australian English, and make sure you use more of those. All right, so then I'm going to talk about Australian CV education, how to write your education. So list your degrees, diplomas in the reverse chronological order as mentioned, and always mention your dates. When did you graduate? When did you start your degree? When did you end your degree? And always mention the name of the institution, name of the educational institution, and also any specialized degree you have. For example, let's talk about my case. All right, so I did my bachelor's in computer science with specialization in mainframe technology. I mentioned that. All right, and do make sure to mention the start date. When did you, which year? Not the exact date. Those talents. So the employer is going to talk about. You can just mention the month and the year you started your degree in, and the month and the year you finished your degree in. And my master's in information technology with specialization in enterprise management. So I mentioned the whole course. Do make sure to mention the whole name of your degree you are attending from any institution. Don't just mention masters in IT. What IT? If you are doing in cybersecurity, if you're doing in enterprise management, if it's a software engineering, you have to mention, guys. You have to mention. Other sections of the CV. Let's talk about other sections. So in other sections, you can talk about your skills, what kind of skills you have. All right. The skills, it is very common to include a simple set of list of skills and keeping separate from your work history. So skills can be soft skills, and also like what kind of uniqueness, how would you stand out of the crowd. All right, this is to provide a very quick at a glance information what you excel at, all right, without delivering into your experience too much. You don't have to mention too much. Volunteer experience, guys, you have to mention any kind of volunteer experience should be noted on your resume. If you prefer, you can include your volunteer experience in your work history as well, but be make sure when you are hired as a role of the volunteer languages, be make sure to mention it's a volunteer position, not you're getting a not what you're getting the paid for, what you're paid for. All right. So if you are fluent in multiple languages, let's say I know 3 languages, you have to mention that in your resume. Don't forget to mention that in your resume. Uh, More the number of languages you will learn, it's like it just adds a chance, or it just gives an extra chance to the employers to look up to into your resume, because it's a Australia is a culture. It's a multicultural country. All right. So if you know more languages, you have to mention that. It's just kind of a leveraging yourself that yes, I know more than 2 languages. All right, because some positions require some positions require a number of languages. Let's say I've seen recently on some of the job descriptions, they ask for Chinese, they ask for Hindi, and do mention about that, man. And references, and talking about references, just keep it as simple: references available on request. Note, it will do there. It is not necessary to provide references until it's requested by an Australian employer or recruiter. All right. So I'm going to move to the next slide now. So you can see in this slide, this is my resume that I have been applying for this is my resume for the role of business analyst. And so just mention the name on the top, then your professional summary. I can just zoom it out. So see, I've just made it very short and very clear, and it's very impressive. Then I've mentioned my work history. All right. And on the side, I've mentioned my address, my email address, my phone number, my address, my suburb that I live in. Then there's a list of skills. Yeah, man, it's a long list, but yeah, it's fine. All right. So yeah. So this is the work history. All right. And until here, it's the work history. And then you have got, then you can include a set of education where you have got your degrees from. And then you can also include a column for accomplishments, what kind of accomplishments you've got in your work experience or in your personal life. Don't include too much in your personal life. I participated in 100-meter relay race. I got first prize in painting competition. Don't do that. All right. So it has to be very much related to your role you're applying for. It's just don't do that, guys. I saw a resume that included gold medalist in Bhangra. So no, don't do that. I won a gold medal in swimming. No, it's not like that, man. You don't have to do that. It just even if you are, it's not necessary, it's not mandatory to include this section in your resume, but if you want, you have to be very, it has to be very much relevant with your job occupation or with yourself, in your professional, related to your professional career. All right. So now this is the cover letter that the Australian employers are looking for. All right. Let's say this is my example. This is my cover letter. You mention your name, address, all right, whom you are referring to. Application, you have to mention the subject. Application for the position of business analyst, ICT infrastructure. In the very first paragraph, you have to mention, I'm writing in this regards of this recently advertised position, blah, blah, blah. And I feel that I'm a strong candidate. I'm really inspired. It's it would be a great opportunity working in your organization. And the second paragraph, what can you do for the job? All right. Since childhood, technology has always influenced me. The position for the business analyst has really influenced me because, and the things you stand out. How do you stand out for the position? In third, you can mention about your educational achievements, and you can just talk about some of the major projects you have done. In fourth paragraph, you mention about what kind of experience you have developed in working in your previous roles. The last paragraph should be very short. As you can see from my resume, I'm very experienced, knowledgeable. Please find an attached copy of my resume, which outlines my experience in more detail. I would welcome the opportunity to discuss my suitability for the position with you in great detail at an interview. Thank you in advance for your consideration. That's it. As simple as it. But this is like this cover letter is much more for more professional roles. But if you're just applying for a hospitality role or maybe a retail role, it's not required. It's not, and that cover letter does not need to be very much lengthy. It can be a simple one-page letter. That's it. But I just wanted to give you an idea about what kind of resume format and what kind of format for the cover letter that the Australian employers are looking for. I've been receiving a lot of comments on my Instagram. People have been asking about what kind of Australian for resume we should build. All right, I think I made it pretty much clear, and I wish you all best of luck. And please like, share, subscribe, Adelaide Hype Vlogs. And thank you for your support. We have recently reached 1,000 subscribers. Thank you, guys. Thank you for your support. Please don't stop sharing love. Like, share, subscribe. And I think this video is going to be very much helpful for some people who would be coming from India and some people who are already in Australia. So stay in touch, guys. Stay happy, and mindset is everything. Stay positive. It's very important to stay positive. Mindset is everything. All right. See you guys.